Today, we're tackling a truth that's as painful as it is crucial to understand. Not all affection shown to us is rooted in love. In the complexities of modern relationships, it's easy to mistake dependency or convenience for genuine affection. This video will explore 8 specific signs that can reveal if you're being used, rather than loved, enhancing your understanding of relationship dynamics. As we delve into these indicators, I'll share insights from both personal experiences and Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to see our interactions with clear eyes. Grab a seat, maybe a cup of coffee, and let's break down these truths together. Stick with me, as I'll provide actionable advice and real-life scenarios that make these concepts relatable and applicable. Let's get started and ensure that the love you give and receive is as sincere and mutual as it should be. Sign 1. Unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations in relationships can sneak up on you. At first, they might not seem like a big deal, maybe even flattering, but over time they can create a heavy imbalance, leaving one partner feeling like they're constantly under pressure to perform or meet impossible standards. I once knew someone who found themselves in a relationship where their partner expected them to handle almost everything, from planning every outing, remembering all special occasions, to managing even the smallest details of their lives together. Initially, they thought this was their way of contributing to the relationship, but as the months passed, it became clear that the effort was entirely one-sided. Their partner never stopped to ask, "Is this fair?" or "How can I help lighten the load?" Stoic philosophy offers profound insights into this dynamic. The Stoics emphasized understanding what is within our control and what isn't. Epictetus often reminded us that while we can control our actions and decisions, we cannot and should not attempt to control everything around us. In relationships, this means acknowledging that a partnership is a shared journey. Expecting one person to do it all, whether it's emotional labor, household tasks, or financial responsibilities, is neither fair nor sustainable. Unrealistic expectations often stem from the belief that a partner should always compromise, always adjust, and always meet the needs of the other without question. This isn't love, it's dependence masked as affection. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, urged us to see things clearly and as they truly are. This wisdom is invaluable in relationships. Recognizing and respecting each other's human limits is vital for building something lasting and genuine. Take, for example, a situation where one person is expected to always be available emotionally, no matter how drained they might feel themselves. Maybe their partner demands constant reassurance or validation, never pausing to ask if the other person has the energy to provide it. Over time, this imbalance creates resentment and fatigue because no one can pour from an empty cup. Addressing this requires honest communication. It's not easy to bring up, especially when you care deeply for the other person. But Stoicism teaches us that courage is a virtue. Confronting an imbalance with kindness and clarity is not only brave but necessary for the health of the relationship. A true partner will understand and want to share the responsibilities, not pile them on. In a healthy relationship, both partners should feel empowered to say, "This is what I can give," and trust that it's enough. Reflect on your relationship. Are the expectations realistic and mutual? Or do they feel like a burden that only one of you is carrying? Remember, love isn't about perfection or meeting impossible standards. It's about partnership, where both people bring their unique strengths and work together. If you find yourself struggling under the weight of unrealistic expectations, take a moment to reflect on what you truly can and should give. Communicate openly and work together to build a relationship grounded in fairness and mutual respect. Because when love is shared equally, it becomes not just sustainable, but deeply fulfilling. Sign 2. Entitlement. Let's talk about entitlement, a sign that often creeps into relationships without being immediately obvious. It's that sense of the world owes me, and in this case, my partner owes me. At first, it might look like confidence or self-assuredness, but over time, entitlement reveals itself as an unhealthy expectation that everything should revolve around one person's needs and desires. I once heard about someone who constantly felt like they had to cater to their partner's every whim. Their partner acted as though their time, energy, and attention were a given, never acknowledging the effort it took. It wasn't about mutual love or partnership. It was about one person feeling entitled to the other's sacrifices, often without reciprocation. The worst part, it was subtle. It wasn't overt demands or arguments, but an undercurrent that quietly drained their energy and left them feeling undervalued. Stoicism has a lot to say about entitlement. Epictetus reminds us that we are not entitled to anything we haven't earned, and that includes the time, affection, and effort of others. Relationships thrive on mutual respect and reciprocity, not on one partner assuming they are owed more simply by virtue of being there. The Stoic practice of gratitude is a powerful antidote to entitlement. It teaches us to appreciate what we have and recognize the efforts others make for us. Entitlement in a relationship can manifest in many ways. Maybe it's the partner who expects you to handle all the logistics of life together, from scheduling plans to managing finances, without offering help. Or perhaps it's someone who believes that your support, emotional, physical, or financial, is their right, regardless of what they contribute. It could even be something as small as expecting constant praise for basic efforts, while rarely offering encouragement in return. These patterns, while seemingly minor at first, can build up over time, creating resentment and imbalance. I remember someone sharing how their partner always expected to be taken care of when they were sick or stressed, but never offered the same in return. If they needed emotional support or a helping hand during tough times, their partner would dismiss their needs or shift the focus back to themselves. This constant expectation of being catered to without offering the same level of care is a hallmark of entitlement, and it's exhausting. Stoicism encourages us to reflect on our roles and contributions in relationships. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of mutual benefit in human connections. A healthy relationship isn't about one person taking and the other giving. It's about both partners supporting each other, recognizing that neither is above or below the other. If you're dealing with a partner who exhibits entitlement, addressing it can feel daunting. Stoicism teaches us to approach such challenges with courage and clarity. Start by having an honest conversation, explaining how their behavior makes you feel and what you need to feel more balanced and valued in the relationship. This isn't about blaming or shaming. It's about opening a dialogue that can lead to growth for both of you. It's also important to set boundaries. Just as Stoicism reminds us to recognize what is within our control, we must also recognize when to protect our energy and well-being. If entitlement persists, despite your efforts to communicate and create balance, it might be time to reassess whether the relationship is truly serving you. Reflect on your relationship dynamic. Are there signs of entitlement? Are your contributions acknowledged and reciprocated, or are they simply expected? Relationships are not meant to be one-sided or transactional. They're partnerships where both people should feel valued and supported. By addressing entitlement when it arises, you're not only protecting your well-being, but also paving the way for a healthier, more fulfilling connection. Sign 3. 2 faces, 1 relationship. Let's dive into one of the most unsettling signs, when someone presents 2 drastically different versions of themselves, one for the public and another for when you're alone. This shift can be confusing, hurtful, and often deeply manipulative. You're left wondering which version of them is the real one, and why the person you see in private doesn't match the one everyone else seems to adore. I once heard about a situation where someone's partner was incredibly charming and caring in social settings. They'd hold their hand, laugh at their jokes, and make them feel like the most cherished person in the room. Friends and family constantly commented on how perfect their relationship seemed, but when they were alone, it was a completely different story. The same partner who had been warm and supportive in public would turn cold, critical, and even dismissive. This emotional whiplash left them feeling isolated, as though they were living with two different people. From a Stoic perspective, this behavior is a clear failure of integrity. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of being the same person in private as you are in public. Consistency in character, regardless of the audience, is a key virtue in Stoicism. A partner who behaves differently depending on who's watching is prioritizing their image over the relationship, and that erodes the trust that is fundamental to any meaningful connection. This kind of behavior often stems from a desire to control how others perceive the relationship. The person might want to maintain a facade of being the perfect partner while neglecting or even mistreating their significant other in private. It's a manipulative tactic that can leave the other person questioning their own reality because what they experience in private doesn't match the story being projected to the outside world. Another example comes to mind of someone whose partner would be incredibly supportive and complimentary in front of mutual friends, going out of their way to highlight their strengths and achievements. But at home, those same achievements were either ignored or met with subtle put-downs. If the issue was ever brought up, the partner would deny it or blame stress, leaving them feeling silenced and invalidated. This disparity created a cycle of confusion and self-doubt. Stoicism teaches us to value truth and consistency. Epictetus often reminded his followers that our character is revealed through our actions, not our words. If someone's actions vary dramatically based on the setting, it's a sign that their behavior may not be rooted in genuine care or respect. If you're experiencing this kind of duality, it's essential to recognize it for what it is: a lack of authenticity and a disregard for your emotional well-being. The Stoic approach encourages us to confront such issues calmly and rationally. Ask yourself, does this person's private treatment of me align with the love and respect they show in public? If the answer is no, it's worth addressing this discrepancy directly. Open a conversation about the inconsistency and share how it affects you. Sometimes this can help your partner understand the harm they're causing. However, if the pattern persists, it's important to evaluate whether the relationship is truly serving your well-being. Another Stoic principle to keep in mind is the importance of self-respect. You deserve a partner who values and cares for you consistently, not just when there's an audience. A person with genuine love and respect for you will treat you kindly, whether you're in a room full of people or completely alone. Consistency in action is the hallmark of integrity, and integrity is the foundation of trust. Take a moment to reflect on your relationship. Are there two faces to your partner, one for the world and one for you? If so, it's time to address it. You deserve a relationship that is honest and supportive, not one that leaves you questioning your worth in private. Recognizing and addressing this behavior can help you reclaim your confidence and make space for a genuine connection built on trust and mutual respect. Sign 4. Lack of genuine interest. Let's talk about something that might not always be obvious at first: a lack of genuine interest. It's when your partner doesn't seem curious about your thoughts, feelings, or experiences. When they listen just enough to respond, but not enough to truly understand. This can leave you feeling unheard and undervalued, like a supporting character in a story that's supposed to be about both of you. A friend once shared a story about how their partner would always zone out during conversations. Whenever they talked about their day, shared an accomplishment, or even opened up about something deeply personal, their partner would give vague responses like, "That's nice," or "Oh, okay." At first, they thought it was just stress or distraction, but over time, it became clear that their partner wasn't interested in truly engaging with them. The relationship felt increasingly one-sided, like they were investing in someone who wasn't willing to do the same. Stoicism reminds us of the importance of mutual respect and attentiveness in relationships. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the value of understanding others and seeing them as they truly are. In the context of a relationship, this means showing a genuine interest in your partner, not out of obligation, but because you care about their inner world. When a partner consistently fails to show this interest, it's a sign that they may not be as invested in the relationship as they should be. Lack of interest can show up in many ways. Maybe your partner doesn't ask follow-up questions when you share something important, or they seem more focused on their phone than on what you're saying. Perhaps they never remember the little things you've mentioned, like your favorite movie, a story about your childhood, or even a challenge you're currently facing. These small dismissals can add up, making you feel like your voice doesn't matter in the relationship. One example I've seen involves someone who always made an effort to learn about their partner's interests. They watched their partner's favorite movies, learned about their hobbies, and even joined them in activities they loved. But when the roles were reversed, there was no reciprocity. If they shared their own passions or achievements, their partner barely acknowledged them. Over time, they felt invisible in the relationship, as if their interests and experiences were unimportant. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. While you can't force someone to be interested, you can control how you respond to their behavior. The philosopher Epictetus would remind us to reflect on whether a relationship aligns with our values and well-being. A partner who shows genuine interest demonstrates care and respect. Without it, the relationship can start to feel hollow. If you're experiencing this, it's important to have an open and honest conversation. Share how their lack of engagement makes you feel. Sometimes people don't realize they're being dismissive, and bringing it to their attention can spark change. But if the behavior persists, it's worth considering whether the relationship is meeting your emotional needs. Remember, interest isn't just about asking questions or listening. It's about truly wanting to know and understand the other person. It's about being present and engaged, showing that you value their perspective and celebrating their individuality. A relationship thrives on this mutual curiosity and care. Sign 5. One-sided relationship dynamics. Delving deeper into the issue of one-sided relationship dynamics, let's consider what it feels like to always be the giver in a relationship. Imagine being in a partnership where your role seems to be that of constant support, financially, emotionally, or even physically, with little to nothing coming back your way. It's a draining experience that can leave you questioning not just the relationship, but your own value within it. A close friend once confided in me about her relationship where she found herself in this exact situation. She was always the one planning their dates, remembering special occasions, and even handling the less glamorous parts of their life together, like bill payments and household chores. Her partner, on the other hand, seemed content to just go along for the ride. This disparity didn't just make her feel unloved, it made her feel invisible, like she was valuable only for what she could provide. From a Stoic perspective, such dynamics are deeply unjust. Stoicism teaches us about the importance of self-respect and the respect of others. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, wrote extensively about the importance of seeing and treating each person as an end in themselves, not as a means to an end. In a relationship, this means recognizing and appreciating each other's contributions, not taking them for granted. It's about valuing the person for who they are, not just for what they do for you. One-sided dynamics can often make one feel like a resource rather than a partner. For example, if you find yourself always being the emotional rock, always the one your partner leans on without a shoulder offered in return, it's worth reflecting on. Are you being seen and supported as a whole person, or are you merely a function within the relationship? If you're experiencing this kind of imbalance, Stoicism would counsel you to approach the situation with both wisdom and courage. It's wise to recognize the imbalance for what it is, and it takes courage to address it directly. Engaging in an open, honest dialogue about your needs and expectations can help reset the balance. It's not about keeping score, but about ensuring that both partners feel equally invested in and valued by the relationship. If you find the dynamic of your relationship skewing heavily to one side, consider this a call to action. Reflect on your needs and worth and assert them within your relationship. True partnership thrives on reciprocity and mutual respect, aligning well with the Stoic ideal that each individual's dignity is upheld. Remember, a relationship should be a partnership, where both sides contribute to making it a nurturing, supportive, and balanced union. Sign 6. Avoidance of difficult conversations. Another critical sign that can indicate you're being used rather than loved is the avoidance of difficult conversations. It's something that many of us may have brushed off as merely uncomfortable, but if you look deeper, it often reveals a lack of commitment to the relationship's health and growth. Think about this. Relationships, much like any dynamic living system, need care, which sometimes involves tackling tough issues. A friend of mine once shared a revealing moment in her relationship. Whenever she tried to discuss future plans or address behaviors that bothered her, her partner would deflect with humor, change the subject, or even walk away. This wasn't just frustrating. It left unresolved issues simmering, which is detrimental to any relationship. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue and reason, encourages us not to shy away from truth, no matter how challenging it might be. The philosopher Epictetus argued that it is not events themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about them. In the context of a relationship, this means facing issues head-on rather than avoiding them. If one partner consistently dodges tough talks, it doesn't just stifle problem-solving, it also prevents the relationship from developing a deeper, more resilient foundation. Avoidance can manifest in many forms. For instance, if every time you bring up something that's important to you and it gets brushed aside, or if your partner becomes overly defensive to the point where productive conversation becomes impossible, these are not just red flags. They are stop signs indicating that the relationship cannot progress healthily. In my own experiences and those of people close to me, I've seen how avoidance creates a pattern of misunderstanding and resentment. It builds a wall between partners, one that only grows higher and stronger with each avoided topic. Stoicism would counsel us to approach these barriers with the intent to understand and dismantle them thoughtfully and respectfully. If you're encountering this pattern, it's essential to bring it up directly, albeit with sensitivity. Initiating a meta-conversation about how you talk about things can sometimes break the cycle. Discuss how avoiding difficult conversations is impacting the relationship and explore ways to create a safer space for both partners to express their thoughts and feelings openly. This approach is not just about clearing the air, it's about building a relationship where both partners feel heard and respected. It aligns with the Stoic ideal that true understanding comes from facing reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Remember, a loving relationship is a truthful one, where challenges are met with courage and clarity, not evasion. Sign 7. Disrespect of boundaries. Moving on to our 7th sign, which is particularly telling, the disrespect of boundaries. In any healthy relationship, respecting each other's boundaries is fundamental, yet when these are consistently ignored, it reveals a profound disregard for the individual's autonomy and well-being. I'll share a personal anecdote that might resonate with many of you. A friend of mine was in a relationship where her need for some personal time was often trampled upon. She enjoyed her quiet mornings, a time for meditation and reflection, crucial for her mental health. However, her partner viewed these moments as an opportunity to bring up discussions they weren't having at other times, essentially hijacking her private space because it suited him. Over time, this not only led to resentment, but also diminished her sense of personal agency. From a Stoic perspective, such behavior is a clear violation of the principle of respect for others' rational nature. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, emphasized living in agreement with nature, which includes acknowledging and respecting the natural capacity of others to govern themselves. When boundaries are not respected, it's not just a breach of personal space, it's a fundamental disregard for the person's nature and needs. Boundary violations can manifest in various ways. It could be as overt as one partner making decisions that affect both without consultation, or as subtle as regularly dismissing the other's requests for time alone or with others. Each instance chips away at the foundation of trust and respect that relationships require to thrive. Addressing such issues often involves more than just pointing them out. It requires a foundational discussion about what each partner values and their expectations on personal space and autonomy. Stoicism would advise us to approach such discussions with calm and reason, aiming not to confront but to understand and realign. For anyone experiencing this, consider it crucial to communicate your boundaries clearly and assertively. If they continue to be ignored, it becomes a matter of assessing the relationship's health and sustainability. A partner who loves and respects you will make efforts to understand and uphold your boundaries, not repeatedly cross them. Reflect on your relationship. Are your boundaries being respected? Or are you finding yourself having to reinforce them repeatedly without any change in behavior? Remember, healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, where each person's boundaries are acknowledged and valued, not consistently challenged or ignored. Sign 8. Stagnation. Let's talk about the final sign, stagnation, which can be a subtle yet deeply revealing indicator of the health of a relationship. When a relationship stops growing, it doesn't just hold still. It often starts to regress or create discontent among the partners involved. I remember discussing this with a friend who felt her relationship had hit a plateau. They had been living together for years, comfortable yet unchanging, like a photograph faded by time. Initially, the stability was reassuring, but over time, it became clear that they were not progressing towards any of their shared goals. Birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays became routine, devoid of the excitement and growth they once sparked. This wasn't about seeking constant change for its own sake, but about nurturing growth that keeps a relationship vibrant and engaging. Stoicism teaches us that while change is a natural and inevitable part of life, the purposeful development towards virtue and mutual understanding in a relationship is essential. Seneca wrote about the importance of progress in life and relationships, not as a pursuit of happiness per se, but as an evolution towards better harmony with the world and each other. Stagnation can often be more difficult to address because it's not marked by dramatic conflicts or overt problems, but by a lack of action and initiative. It's like slowly sinking into quicksand, not because you want to, but because you've stopped moving forward. It might show up in how long-standing issues are brushed aside, or how conversations about the future are met with non-committal responses, or simply ignored. Addressing stagnation means revitalizing the commitment to grow together. It involves having honest discussions about what each partner needs and wants from the relationship moving forward. It might involve setting new goals together, finding shared hobbies, or even redefining individual roles within the partnership. For anyone feeling that their relationship might be stagnating, the Stoic approach would be to first reflect inwardly, understand your role in this dynamic, and then engage outwardly in an open, constructive dialogue. It's about asking yourselves, together, where you see the relationship going and what can be done to align your trajectory with your aspirations. Consider this. Is your relationship allowing you to grow, both as an individual and as a partner? Or does it feel like you're merely coexisting? If it's the latter, it might be time to inject new energy and direction into your partnership. Remember, a relationship should not just be about surviving together. It should be about thriving together, continually evolving and deepening your connection. Recognizing these signs in your relationship isn't just about finding faults, it's about fostering a deeper, more meaningful connection with those you love. Remember, the essence of Stoic wisdom is not merely to endure, but to engage actively and thoughtfully with life's challenges. Thank you for joining me today and for being a part of the Stoic Journal community. If you found this video helpful, please check out our suggested video on the screen to dive deeper into how Stoicism can help enhance your relationships and personal growth. Thank you for watching, and until next time, may you live a life full of wisdom and virtue.